Welcome back to the Portal Report Head Coach Showcase Series. I'm George Michalowski. Today with another very special guest, Head Coach Will Wade, the McNeese State Cowboys. Coach, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thanks for having me, George. I appreciate it.
Of course, man. So year one on the job here at McNeese. I believe at least the announcement of your hiring here at McNeese was the day before the transfer portal opened. So I can imagine how hectic that was for you guys, on all fronts that week. But how quickly did your staff, personally get into the transfer portal, start scouring this thing this year?
I mean, immediately. It's the quickest way to rebuild a program, retool a program. That's the one biggest difference. I took over at Chattanooga about 10 years ago, and we had a bunch of kids that had to sit out. Our second year, we were really good because we had the sit out kids. We didn't have anybody that could come in and play immediately, but being able to get guys that can come in and play immediately, have a chance to make an immediate impact is the quickest way to turn a program around now. I think that's, you used to say, oh, give a coach 4 years. You got to be able to turn around in a year or two. In these times, I think the transfer portal is a huge reason why.
Right. And for your staff, now that you guys have had some time, have you gotten out to see high school kids yet, or has it just been focused on transfers?
No, I mean, we signed a high school kid. We have not used one day on the road recruiting. We haven't been out one day. We've done it all from our office and our phones. I mean, part of it is I'm under recruiting restrictions from the NCAA ruling, but my staff can certainly go out. But I mean, we've done everything from our phones and from our office and getting kids on campus and just using our relationships. But we signed some junior college kids. We signed a high school kid, but we took a vast majority of our guys from the transfer portal. And so, we just work our relationships, work our former players. A lot of the kids are friends with some of our former players, whatever it may be. And we build those relationships and get those guys on campus and try to close it down when we get them.
Yes, sir. So about that process, when you're trying to get a kid on campus as a transfer recruit, is that the first thing? Is that like the first goal when you're talking to a transfer? Because all these coaches tell us it's like speed dating. It's really, really quick building this relationship. Is that your first goal, like get him on campus?
Yeah, I mean, shoot, I like things in a microwave. I don't like using the crock pot, so it just goes quick. You get it done as quick as you can. So, yeah, I mean, usually you start with a call, you set up a Zoom, you try to get them interested in the Zoom, and you try to get them to campus and see if you can lock it down and close it down. So. That's typically the process. That's the process we try to use and try to figure it, try to figure it all out. But, it certainly is speed dating.
Yeah.
The longest these things go are maybe a month to 6 weeks. Some of them go a lot quicker than that. And so, it's fun. It's intense. It's quick. And, it's a fun time.
Well, like you said earlier, you guys have had success in this portal. With that process, like you were talking about, bringing in all these transfers, some JUCO kids, a high school prospect. I want to get into those transfer additions, though. So the first guy that catches my eye, when looking at your transfer class from CSU Bakersfield, and Tavion Collin, 13 points per game last year. What is he going to bring to you guys this year at McNeese?
He's a big physical player. He was a former top 100 player when he was at Ole Miss. Somebody who's produced in a good league in the Big West at Bakersfield. He's looking to expand his game, shoot some more threes. I think he'll be able to do that here for us. But he's somebody that's physically imposing and's got a good skill level to him as well.
Then you bring in a guy, CJ Felder, from the high major ranks. You said, you see and Tavion produced at the, low major, mid-major level there. But when you bring in a guy from a school like Florida, how important is that for you guys? He's got that high major experience already.
Yeah, I mean, just, those high major players move a little bit different. And he's been at Florida. He was very productive under Mike White at Florida. Wasn't as productive with Coach Golden this past year. Before that, he was at Boston College with Coach Grant, was extremely productive there at BC. But somebody who can make shots. He's somebody who can guard. Once again, he's very physically, he's 6'8", 245 pounds. I mean, he's a monster. And so, I think there's a lot of good things there with CJ, and he's somebody that'll make an impact for us this year.
Another high major guy you guys are bringing in, Shahade Wells out of TCU, man. He had more solid stats at the high major level. What exactly do you see him bringing into the program this year? What was that recruitment like too with Shahade?
Well, his went a little longer. He took some
Right.
visits. He visited us and Sam Houston and UTEP. He visited a few different places. But one thing that's interesting about him is obviously he averaged 6.5 at TCU last year. He set out the year before at TCU. Before that, he was at Texas Arlington, averaged 17 in the Sun Belt at Texas Arlington. Was an all-league player in the Sun Belt, and I think he can certainly duplicate that. And we're looking for him to come close to duplicating that for us here at McNeese. But he's a very valuable player, and he's a very good person. He's got some good leadership qualities to him as well.
Another guy we bring in here at McNeese, Mike Saunders from Utah, previously at Cincinnati. I remember he was in the portal last year. A lot of names calling him. So, Mike, when you bring in a guy like that's transferred before, what's the outlook with you guys? What do you want him to provide to this program in the future?
Well, Mike's somebody I've known since he was in 8th grade. I actually had one of his teammates committed to me when I was a head coach at VCU a long time ago, and known him and his family for a long time. He's a really, really good person. Look, he had some huge games at Utah this year. He didn't have a ton of opportunity, but he had 25, I believe, on UCLA. Played really, really well in that game, and so I think he's somebody that can step in and you can put the ball in his hands. He's had the ball in his hands in high level games and big time games, and he's not going to be scared of the moment.
Cam Jones, another guy to round out your transfer class here, 9 points per game over at South Carolina State. Cam, another guy with very good positional size, 6'6", 6'7" guard. What does he, looked like so far? If you've gotten a chance to see him play, if he's on campus, and what do you anticipate him providing this year?
Yeah, he's on campus. We needed some shooting, and we got that with Cam Jones. I know we hadn't touched on. We have a kid, DJ Richards, as well, who transferred from UTSA, who's like a 6'5" wing who can really, really shoot. And him and Cam both give us some guys that can play multiple positions, guys that can rebound pretty well. They both averaged over 5 rebounds a game at their previous schools, and they're both guys I think that can shoot 40% plus from 3. But Cam's been around the block. He's a grad transfer. He was at Jacksonville State. He was in JUCO. He was at South Carolina State. Of course, DJ's from Houston, and he was just at UTSA. He was on the all-rookie team in Conference USA. So, they both bring us, some shooting, some size, and some rebounding, which we certainly need.
So when you're recruiting these guys, obviously a very talented 6-man transfer class we just spoke about, each of them. When you're recruiting them, how do you judge character when they're transfers, when it's that quick of a process? Are you getting to know their former coaches, their families? Is that really as much of a important piece to the transfer recruiting, or is that more high school, the long process?
I mean, look, talent's the price of admission. So the first thing we're looking for is, are they talented enough? Right. And then, we'll figure out the character part as long as they hadn't robbed anybody. I mean, we can figure everything else. We can figure everything else out. I mean, most of these kids are people we know or come from people we know. And look, you get the good, bad, and the ugly, and certainly you got to check under the hood and see what's going on. But if they're talented enough, there ain't much that that can't be overcome in the transfer portal, especially when you're at McNeese State. You gotta roll the dice a little bit on some guys, and I say that jokingly, but it's the truth. But these kids we've got all have very, very high character. They're all good kids. They've all been very, very fun to coach so far this summer. It's been a really, really smooth and good transition.
It sounds like it, Coach. So we'll wrap it up here. I want to ask you, I want to give you the floor. How are you going to get people to, fill the stands this season at McNeese? What should your fans be excited about this year?
Well, we got to win. I mean, everybody likes a winner. Nobody likes to hang around a loser. So we got to find a way to win. We hadn't won here in a long time. I think we are going to win. I think we've got a team that can compete at the top of the Southland Conference. I think we've got a team that can compete, at the top of the league, and we'll be competitive in our non-league games as well. And so, once we win, we'll build some momentum. Lake Charles, where we're located, is a great place, great city. We do have great interest. We actually, as bad as we've been the last couple of years, we led the league in attendance. We've been really, really poor. We've had the worst 2-year run, in the history of our program. But hopefully we can flip that and have the best 2-year run in the history of the program as we move forward and just kind of mirror flip that. But it's a lot of factors led to that. We've had some hurricanes. We've had a lot of stuff. It wasn't the coaching at all. We just had a lot of factors that have kind of played into that, but I'm hoping we can flip it. And once we flip it, I know the fans will come out, and we've got good players. They're good kids. They're involved in the community, and I think it'll be something that everybody's excited about.
Well, that sounds good, Coach. We'll have our eyes on you guys all season long here at the Porter Report. Thank you again for joining me. Really appreciate it.
Thanks, George.
Of course, man. See you later, Coach.
See you now.